Have you ever wondered why one gardener harvests crisp, delicious cucumbers every few days, from early summer until frost, while another struggles to pick only a handful from plants growing just a few feet away? The surprising truth is that watering, fertilizing, and good soil are only part of the story. One of the biggest reasons for success happens long before the first seed is planted. It begins when choosing the variety. Many gardeners unknowingly buy cucumber seeds based only on attractive photos, large fruit, or catchy names. Unfortunately, that simple mistake often leads to disappointing harvests, bitter cucumbers, poor disease resistance, or plants that stop producing after only a few weeks. The right variety can make an enormous difference. It influences how early your plants begin producing, how long they continue setting fruit, how well they resist diseases, whether they need bees for pollination, how they tolerate hot or cool weather, and even how sweet and crisp the cucumbers taste. Today we're going to explore exactly how to choose the best cucumber varieties for your garden. We'll compare slicing cucumbers, pickling cucumbers, greenhouse types, heirloom favorites, hybrids, open-pollinated varieties, and explain which ones perform best under different growing conditions. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which cucumber seeds deserve a place in your garden next season. Let's begin with one of the most common misconceptions. Many people believe all cucumber varieties are basically the same and that growing conditions matter far more than genetics. In reality, cucumber breeding has produced hundreds of varieties with dramatically different characteristics. Some plants naturally produce 2 or 3 times more fruit than others. Some continue producing for months. Others mature quickly but finish early. Some resist several major cucumber diseases while others become infected easily during humid weather. Even fruit quality varies tremendously. Certain varieties stay crisp for days after harvest, while others become soft much faster. Some remain sweet during hot weather, while others develop bitterness under stress. This is why experienced gardeners spend time selecting varieties before planting a single seed. Now let's understand the major categories. The first group is slicing cucumbers. These are the classic fresh-eating cucumbers found in salads and sandwiches. Most slicing cucumbers grow between 7 and 10 inches long. Their skins are usually smooth or lightly textured. The flesh is juicy, crisp, and refreshing. These varieties are bred primarily for fresh consumption rather than preserving. Popular high-performing slicing varieties include Marketmore 76, Diva, Sweet Success, and Poinsett 76. Marketmore 76 has remained popular for decades because of its dependable productivity, excellent flavor, and strong disease resistance. It tolerates changing weather remarkably well and performs reliably in many climates. Diva produces smooth, tender cucumbers with very few seeds. Its fruits are crisp, mild, and rarely become bitter when harvested on time. Sweet Success is especially interesting because it is a parthenocarpic hybrid. That means it can produce fruit without pollination, making it an excellent choice for greenhouses and protected growing. Poinsett 76 has long been appreciated in warm regions because of its vigorous vines and resistance to several common cucumber diseases. Now let's look at another important category: pickling cucumbers. These varieties are not simply smaller versions of slicing cucumbers. They are specifically bred to produce firm flesh that stays crunchy after being preserved. Most pickling cucumbers are harvested when they are between 3 and 5 inches long. They usually have thinner skins, denser flesh, and fewer large seeds. Excellent choices include National Pickling, Calypso, Eureka, and H19 Little Leaf. National Pickling has been trusted by home gardeners for generations because it produces large numbers of uniform fruits throughout the season. Calypso combines outstanding productivity with strong disease resistance. Eureka is known for excellent fruit quality and dependable yields under many growing conditions. Little Leaf offers another advantage. Its smaller leaves improve air circulation, making harvesting easier while reducing humidity around the foliage. that can help reduce disease pressure during wet summers. Here's a useful tip. Even if you don't plan to make pickles, pickling varieties can be excellent for fresh eating when harvested young. Their crisp texture often surprises gardeners who have only grown traditional slicing cucumbers. Next, let's talk about burpless cucumbers. Many people experience mild digestive discomfort after eating cucumbers. Burpless varieties were developed with lower levels of compounds that may contribute to bitterness and digestive irritation. These cucumbers typically have thinner skins, fewer seeds, and a sweeter flavor. Popular examples include Tasty Green, Sweet Success, and Burpless Beauty. They are particularly enjoyable for fresh salads because peeling is often unnecessary. However, their thinner skins also mean they generally do not store as long after harvest compared to thicker-skinned varieties. Now let's move inside the greenhouse. Greenhouse cucumbers differ from outdoor varieties in several important ways. Many greenhouse types are parthenocarpic. That means they produce fruit without pollination. This is extremely valuable inside enclosed structures where bee activity may be limited. These varieties also tend to produce long, straight, seedless fruits with very smooth skins. European greenhouse cucumbers are especially popular for this reason. They are usually wrapped individually in grocery stores because their thin skins lose moisture quickly. Growing these varieties outdoors is certainly possible. However, if bees pollinate parthenocarpic cucumbers, some varieties may develop misshapen fruit or produce seeds where they normally would not. For best results, greenhouse varieties perform best in protected environments. Now let's explore heirloom cucumbers. Heirloom varieties have been passed down through generations because gardeners appreciated their flavor, appearance, or reliability. Unlike many modern hybrids, heirlooms are open-pollinated. That means gardeners can save seeds from healthy plants and grow similar crops the following year. Popular heirlooms include lemon cucumber, Boothby's blonde, Armenian cucumber, and Boston pickling. Lemon cucumber produces round yellow fruits about the size of tennis balls. Despite the name, they taste like cucumbers rather than lemons. Their mild flavor makes them popular with children and home gardeners looking for something unique. Boothby's blonde produces creamy-colored fruits with excellent flavor. Boston pickling remains one of the classic choices for homemade pickles. Armenian cucumber is actually a close relative rather than a true cucumber species, but it is grown exactly the same way. It tolerates hot weather exceptionally well and produces long, crisp fruits with excellent flavor. Here's another interesting fact. Modern cucumber breeding has dramatically improved disease resistance without sacrificing taste. Decades ago, gardeners often lost large portions of their crop to diseases like powdery mildew, downy mildew, cucumber mosaic virus, and bacterial wilt. Today, many hybrids include resistance to multiple diseases. Although resistance does not guarantee immunity, it significantly reduces crop losses and often extends the harvest season. If your garden frequently experiences humid summers, disease-resistant varieties can make an enormous difference. Some of the most disease-resistant varieties include Marketmore 76, Diva, Calypso, County Fair, and Poinsett 76. These varieties continue producing even when conditions become challenging. Now let's compare hybrid and open-pollinated cucumbers. Hybrid varieties result from carefully controlled crosses between selected parent plants. Their advantages often include higher yields, improved disease resistance, better uniformity, earlier maturity, and greater reliability. The downside is that seeds saved from hybrid plants usually do not produce identical offspring. Gardeners typically purchase fresh seed each season. Open-pollinated varieties offer different advantages. You can save seeds from healthy plants. Many gardeners appreciate their genetic diversity, traditional flavor, and historical importance. However, open-pollinated varieties sometimes produce less uniform fruit and may have lower disease resistance compared to modern hybrids. Neither option is universally better. The best choice depends on your gardening goals. If maximum productivity and reliability are your priorities, Hybrids are often excellent. If seed saving, traditional gardening, and preserving heritage varieties matter most, open-pollinated cucumbers may be the better choice. Now let's answer an important question. Which varieties work best for small gardens? Limited space requires efficient plants. Bush varieties like Spacemaster 80 are outstanding choices. They produce compact vines while still delivering impressive harvests. These varieties fit beautifully into raised beds and even large containers. Compact plants are also easier to manage and harvest. If you grow vertically using trellises, many vining varieties also become suitable for small gardens, because they use height instead of ground space. Vertical growing improves air circulation, keeps fruit cleaner, reduces disease risk, and makes harvesting much easier. 4 raised beds, Marketmore 76, Diva, and Spacemaster 80 consistently perform well. For containers, choose bush or compact varieties and use large containers with excellent drainage. Provide strong support whenever vines begin climbing. Greenhouses present different opportunities. Because temperature and moisture remain more controlled, parthenocarpic varieties often outperform bee-pollinated types. Sweet Success, Telegraph Improved, and other greenhouse hybrids produce remarkably straight, tender cucumbers over an extended season. Open-field gardens provide more flexibility. Here, bee-pollinated varieties thrive when pollinators are abundant. Large vigorous vines can spread naturally, producing abundant harvests throughout summer. Speaking of pollination, let's explain why it matters so much. Traditional cucumber plants produce separate male and female flowers. Male flowers provide pollen. Female flowers develop into cucumbers after successful pollination. Without adequate pollination, small fruits may stop growing, become misshapen, or drop from the plant. This is why encouraging bees and other pollinators greatly improves yields for bee-pollinated varieties. Parthenocarpic cucumbers work differently. They develop fruit without fertilization. This makes them especially reliable during rainy weather when bees are less active. It also explains why greenhouse growers frequently choose these varieties. Here's a common mistake. Some gardeners unknowingly plant only greenhouse varieties outdoors while growing bee-pollinated varieties inside enclosed greenhouses. Simply reversing those choices often produces dramatically better harvests. Now let's consider climate. Gardeners in cool regions should choose varieties that mature relatively early. Short growing seasons require plants that begin producing quickly. Marketmore 76, Diva, and Early Fortune are dependable choices because they develop fruit before cooler weather returns. Gardeners in hot climates need varieties capable of handling prolonged heat without producing excessive bitterness. Armenian cucumber, Suyo Long, and Poinsett 76 perform especially well under warm summer conditions. Adequate watering also becomes increasingly important during heat waves because water stress contributes significantly to bitterness. Another interesting fact concerns cucumber flowering. Many cucumber plants produce mostly male flowers during early growth. This sometimes worries beginners because they see flowers falling without fruit developing. Fortunately, this is completely normal. As plants mature, female flowers become much more common, and fruit production rapidly increases. Patience is often all that's required. Let's discuss fruit characteristics. Length matters. Large slicing cucumbers typically range between 7 and 10 inches. English greenhouse cucumbers often exceed 12 inches. Pickling cucumbers remain much shorter. Texture matters too. Dense flesh generally produces crisp pickles. Tender flesh creates outstanding fresh salads. Seed size also varies. Some varieties remain nearly seedless when harvested young. Others develop larger seed cavities as fruit matures. Harvest timing plays an equally important role. Even the best variety becomes less flavorful if left on the vine too long. Frequent harvesting encourages plants to continue flowering and setting new fruit. Many experienced gardeners harvest every 1 or 2 days during peak production. Doing so dramatically extends the productive season. Let's examine bitterness. Older cucumber varieties sometimes became bitter during periods of drought or extreme heat. Modern breeding has reduced this problem substantially. Nevertheless, consistent watering remains one of the best ways to maintain excellent flavor. Avoid allowing soil to alternate between extremely dry and soaking wet. Steady moisture supports both fruit quality and continuous production. Now let's cover seed selection. One of the biggest mistakes gardeners make is purchasing seeds solely because the packet shows enormous cucumbers. Large fruit does not necessarily mean better harvests. In fact, some highly productive varieties produce medium-sized cucumbers continuously rather than a few oversized fruits. Another mistake involves ignoring disease resistance information printed on seed packets. Those small abbreviations represent valuable breeding improvements. Choosing resistant varieties often means fewer problems throughout the season. Some gardeners also buy only one variety. Growing 2 or 3 different cucumber types provides several advantages. You enjoy fresh slicing cucumbers, crisp pickling cucumbers, and perhaps a greenhouse variety or heirloom specialty. Different genetics also reduce the risk that a single disease or weather condition affects your entire crop. Here's another practical tip. Read the expected days to maturity before purchasing seeds. Mixing early, mid-season, and longer-producing varieties spreads harvests over a much longer period. Instead of one huge flush followed by declining production, you'll enjoy a steadier supply for many weeks. Another fascinating aspect of cucumber breeding involves flower production. Some modern varieties are gynaeceous. That means they naturally produce far more female flowers than traditional varieties. Since female flowers become cucumbers, these plants often deliver exceptionally heavy yields. Some seed packets even include a small percentage of pollinator seeds to ensure proper fertilization. Understanding this feature helps gardeners appreciate why certain hybrids consistently outperform older varieties. Let's quickly match varieties with gardening goals. If your priority is fresh salads, choose Marketmore 76, Diva, Sweet Success, or Burpless Beauty. If preserving and pickling matter most, consider National Pickling, Calypso, Eureka, or Boston Pickling. For containers and compact spaces, Spacemaster 80 is difficult to beat. For greenhouses, Sweet Success and Telegraph Improved remain excellent options. For hot climates, Armenian Cucumber and Poinsett 76 perform reliably. For cooler regions, Marketmore 76 and Early Fortune provide dependable harvests. If disease resistance is your highest priority, hybrids like Diva, Calypso, County Fair, and Marketmore 76 deserve serious consideration. Finally, remember that no single cucumber variety is perfect for every gardener. The best choice depends on your climate, available space, growing method, intended use, and personal taste preferences. Fortunately, today's gardeners have access to outstanding varieties developed through decades of careful breeding and practical field testing. Choosing wisely before planting can dramatically improve harvest quality without requiring additional fertilizer, expensive equipment, or complicated growing techniques. Sometimes the greatest improvement begins with something as simple as selecting a different seed packet. So before next season arrives, spend a little extra time comparing cucumber varieties instead of grabbing the first packet you see. That one decision could reward you with healthier plants, longer harvests, better flavor, fewer diseases, and baskets filled with crisp cucumbers all summer long. If you found this guide helpful, keep learning, keep experimenting, and remember that every great harvest starts with informed choices. The right cucumber variety won't do all the work for you, but it can give your garden the strongest possible start and help transform an ordinary growing season into one of your most productive yet.